Hey everybody, Elderly Brothers here, episode 25. This is June 30, 2025. So if you're watching this 25 years from now, you'll be able to tell what's going on in the world because we know a lot of stuff and some of it's true.
And
My
you,
my name's Ardy and I'm in Florida and I'm 89.
I'm Larry. I'm in New York. I'm 82. I'm only 82. And I want last number 24. I'm sure everybody watched it. And I had intended to show you a bunch of pictures of the tugboats that I went to the christening for. And all I showed you was like my what do you call
Thumbnails you had.
thumbnails. So I have one picture I want to show you just so you can see the tugboats and all that, and then we're gonna go on to something else. But at this moment, I'm going to share my screen, and here are those tugboats. They're beautiful, and it was a whole lot of fun seeing them and getting to go through them. So that's what you missed last time, and you'll never see it again, I guess. So
Well, you never know.
I'm stopping that and we're going back to this and we're going to talk about you tell them.
Well, most of you don't know that my brother is a very talented guy. He's an architect and he's also a painter. And he has a very nice lawnmower that he uses, riding lawnmower. And he does that very, very creatively as well. But anyway, he's going to have an art show and he's got a whole bunch of stuff that he wants to sell. And who can blame him? You got to get rid of that stuff. Nothing else to do with it. And he doesn't. Pricing is an issue, and you can talk about that, Larry. I'm not sure what range you're even talking about.
Well, so I'm not a whole lot sure of that either. I've asked a number of my friends. Um, I've shown them the work and I've asked them, what do you think? Where do you think I should price this? And they've come from very low to uh, pretty high. And I still don't know where to pick. We're going to an art and craft show in Guilford, Connecticut, in a couple of weeks. So one of the thoughts we had was we'll just go around and see what everybody else is asking for their work and then try to compare. We have some general ideas, but it's how do you know?
Well, how big are these pieces for the most part?
Well, I have a whole bunch that are 10 by 14 inches. So
So
they're like
that's
so
yeah,
by so.
not big.
But they're original oil paintings on canvas and then mounted on plywood. So they're easy to hang on your wall.
So, but some of them are smaller and some are bigger, or they're almost pretty much the same.
Those are like probably the smallest. Then I have some that are as big as like 24 inches square on canvas on stretchers.
Okay. Well, I have no idea about the size may not matter. You
Well,
know,
it seems to, if you look at the way art is priced, the big things priced higher and smaller ones less, even with the same artist. So size seems to matter.
well, look at the Mona Lisa. Not big. Very,
Not
very,
that big.
very, very pricey.
And then we talked briefly before this about the Sotheby's sale of a banana uh, taped to whatever with duct tape that went for $5 million or something like that.
Yeah, well, we're not talking crazy people here. We're talking about people who are going to an art show and maybe will buy something and maybe not. And I think 6 million is too much for any of your pieces, probably.
Yeah, at this point. Although I have some big ones that are probably 3 or 4 million.
You think that? Probably that, yeah. But you know what's the saying? Art beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So
That's
if I
true.
behold one of those and it looks valuable to me, I might say, give me that thing for $100. Or and you might say, no, it's too little. I need 200, and I'm going to say 125, and you're going to say sold.
Yeah.
But I might look at it and say, oh, that's a nice little trinket. I'll give you $10 for it, and I can get it in my bag. So I had no clue. I don't. If you put prices on them, you may be screwing yourself, and just putting yourself out of the market because people say, "Oh, I'm not going to go that." And a lot of people don't want to haggle, and they'll just say, "Okay, nice stuff. Love to have it. Too expensive." So I have no answer for you there. You need somebody who's already done this with art. You
Oh,
know,
that's true. And but I did mention to you before we started this that my daughter Tara, who's also an artist, had said that we should open a gallery, and we're going to call it the Obro Gallery, which is OBRO, which stands for no, Orb, what was it? Obro, or best reasonable offer. And then that leaves it open. We can decide what's reasonable. And
yeah. Uh, that a lot of places do that reasonable thing, and you're going to say, well, reasonable to me is like 50 cents, and you're going to say no.
yeah, exactly. So, but at least if you got reasonable in there, you got a chance at refusing an offer that you think,
You can negotiate. Yeah, I think so too. Well, I don't know. You're going to have to figure it out. I would think that you got to put some kind of price on each one, though.
yeah, well, we have one of the things that we do have, which we think will keep us from walking away from 3 days trying to sell us stuff without selling anything, is the postcard size original oil pastel artworks. And those we're gonna I can I'll I'm gonna get a couple and try to show them.
Okay.
Don't go away.
He's getting a couple. He's going to try and show us. So hang on. And by the way, while I've got you all to myself, check us out, review us, subscribe, and it's free. And you'll enjoy these old guys just doing stuff, you
I
know?
love it. I mean, I told you I looked at one yesterday, the number 24. I watched the whole thing and I laughed out loud.
Well, we know the cast of characters. That's one thing.
So let's see. Yeah, there you go.
In front of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is I think it's a 5 by I don't know,
5 by 7 looks like.
and it's an original, unique oil pastel artwork, and it has a refrigerator magnet already on it. So it's very convenient. Original art, you can put it right on your refrigerator. This one we're talking. This is the bigger one. This is a smaller one. Let's see. There
Forget it. Yeah, okay.
it is.
Yeah.
It seems to only show here.
Yeah, it's the same size card though, isn't it?
No, this one's bigger.
Oh, it is? Okay. Well,
Oh,
anyway, put them down. They're bothering. They're
okay,
bothersome.
sorry to
Uh,
bother people. But
yeah,
in any case, so we're thinking the big one, $35, because we're the other thing we chose this show because it's in a really good zip code. So where people have disposable income to spend on
you, you think
art,
you can suck in the rubes, huh?
art from totally unknown artists.
Yeah. Are they signed?
Yeah, they're signed.
Okay.
They're initialed. They aren't signed, but that's
Uh,
enough
okay.
because you
Well,
know.
I'll tell you what I'd offer you $10 for one of those.
Well, I'd have to say, can't you do a little better?
No, that's good.
Well, go to the next guy over in the next booth.
Behind you, the guy behind you. Yeah.
So this is an experiment. Never done this before. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think you're going to probably end up $10 or $15 for those because even original. you're nobody. I mean, you're somebody that we all know and love, but you're nobody in the art world, really. So they're not going to be able to keep those for their kids to sell for a fortune later in life.
Well, you never know because when the Elderly Brothers go viral,
And that's the point. That's a good
that'll
point.
help,
Like that.
the
Yeah.
artwork sell.
When we get really famous, you'll be famous because of
And I
that.
can also, if anybody's watching and you need architectural work in New York State, I'm licensed here.
Right. Yeah. And I can do some freelance writing for you too if you need it. But right now we're not selling those two things.
We may, hopefully, we will be able to.
So before we went on the air, I was telling you asked me if I wrote early something today about having a bow and arrow as a kid. And you asked me if I really had one. I said, yeah. I mean, how can I make up having a bow and arrow? And I had one, and I had steel pointed arrows, and I just amazing to me they would even sell those. What to? Well, they sold them to my dad probably, but and he could have done it. But anyway, so I had a target. I had a regular target, with a red, white, and blue, whatever the circles on it, and it was made out of straw. And I used to shoot it, and sometimes they would miss the target and go into the backyard of the next house. And fortunately, there were no pets or children out there. But then I did this thing where I point them straight up in the air and I pull it as hard as I could. I have no idea how high they went. I mean, I think out of sight, really. And
Probably.
well, I was wearing glasses, so probably out of sight after 10 feet. Anyway, and I'd watch him and then I'd see him again and they come down and they go on the ground like a foot. But I never thought that one might come down and go a foot into my head.
Easily penetrate your skull.
And they'd have to take my body to the hospital with an arrow sticking out of my head. But the things we did as kids and survived. I shot those things without a helmet, believe it or not.
I know. I was just thinking, if you were doing that today, but first you probably couldn't buy them with steel points,
No, I doubt it. Well, you
and
probably can, but
secondly,
not for sport, just
and
for
you'd have to buy a helmet to go with it.
yeah, right. And gloves and knee pads and everything else.
You
Yeah.
should be wearing a helmet every day, all the time, basically,
Yeah, really. You
because
never can tell when something's going to fall out of the sky and hit you
it's
on the head.
risky. I've told you, I believe, about my one of my experiments as about a probably 10-year-old, 11-year-old. It seems like we had a sandbox in the backyard, and I made a pyramid that was about probably a foot or a little more high. I made a hole in the top of it down to the bottom. I took the cap off a bottle of rubbing alcohol, filled it up, put it in the bottom, and then I threw a match in there and looked over to see what was going to happen.
Uh, the scars are still visible.
Child's fast reflexes, my eyelashes and part of my eyebrow went, but my eye closed in time to save it.
Oh, you should have had safety glasses on, right?
So here, if we had people watching this, I would love for them to contact us about the stupid shit they did as kids and survived.
Yeah, and survived. Well, they wouldn't be able to tell us if they had survived, but I'm sure those two things probably are less dangerous than a lot of people have done.
I'm certain of that, and I would just love to know
Yeah, that's a great idea.
where we are on that spectrum. We should have somehow announce we could give a prize, maybe a hat and a shirt
We could, yes, we
for
could.
surviving some really stupid kid thing
Real thing though, a real thing you did, not
that
something
you did.
because I could make up stuff too, but those two things are not made up, and that it'd be hard to make those things up actually.
Yeah, I couldn't have made that up.
No. Well, I'm glad you survived. I didn't know about that one.
I'm glad you did too, and I can't believe you were that stupid.
Oh, easy to be stupid when you're probably I was 12 or 13, maybe something like that.
Yeah, a lot of stupidity flows at that time.
Yeah, in all directions. I mean, you're just
Yes, for sure.
incredible. All right, I think we bored people enough, but we certainly have entertained ourselves, so that's worth it in itself.
Absolutely. And in signing off, I want to tell you that I love you in perpetuity,
And I love you in perpetuity too, if I only knew what perpetuity meant.
and we'll do this again soon. And please watch.
Okay, guys. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.